Alright, good evening, my friends. It is the 8th of May 2022, and it is time for us to go ahead and get on with our next Torg Eternity story. Well, I hate Poof Bamf, and since we're missing most of our original people tonight, and we're going to have 3 new ones, I'm going to go ahead and get some Poof Bamf stories, or anti-Poof Bamf stories out of the way. Now, Poof Bamf is when you launch someone into your game or take someone out of your game without putting them into the story, or out of the story. So in this case, I'm going to put them out of the story. Alright, this one is about Claws. Tyler has left the game, I think permanently. I hope not. I think he's got a good future in role-playing, but he's going to have to deal with that himself. The Street Samurai had more than his share of being on a sailing ship and out in the deep ocean before he even set foot on the Spindrift. On disembarking the Dwarven longship at the Clyde docks, he had barely waved goodbye, expressing, "Perhaps we'll see one another again, but now I have to go home. I am needed." His Parisian accent was not rich anymore, but it remained enough to give the man some charm. They watched his retreating back, even as they were being ushered to horse-drawn carriages that would take them to a nearby hardpoint zone where they could ride the Channel train back to England. Alright, then we go to Kret. Kret turned to his friend and mentor Mo just as they were disembarking the train and explained, "Claws leaving like this has given me some time to think. I must fight for my kingdom, make sure the one who will lead in my stead is just and will take care of my people." He stood back and lowered his head, extending his front paw for permission to go. Mo extended his massive lizard hooks, then allowing Kret to lay his paw there. For love of Lenala, little rat king." Kret repeated what he'd said and then moved off to another train to hitch a ride back to his territory well north of London in Lancaster, and was gone. Mo hoped he would see the man rodent again in the future. Then we get to Captains, Mo and Dogfight. As all of you close on Heathrow Airport yet again after returning from service to Elrana of House Garrick on the Dwarven longship Spindrift to free her of the curse of the spear Gaiabolga, several police vehicles surround the two of you're being driven to the airport inn. A police officer in a captain's cap and vest has a word with the motorcycle officer tasked with leading your cars to the airport, and after that officer acknowledges what's said, the captain returns to his car and opens the door for a clearly long-legged woman in a fuchsia-colored summer dress. As the lady emerges, her poofy gray and blonde hair manages to pull a gasp from Dogfight, and immediately he moves out toward her. All following him, trying to figure out what's going on, he seems to stride ahead of everyone. As he moves forward toward this woman, Dogfight's haste and bullet-style trajectory unusual for him, Mo follows quickly behind. "Where are you going so fast, old boy?" the giant lizard with a cigar between his jaws calls after his friend. With Mo following, all of you do so as well, your curiosity pushing you beyond safety, though all of you get the feeling you couldn't possibly be safer just now. On getting close enough to hear the words being exchanged, Dogfight reaches out to give this woman a hug, and, as though she were a mother to him, she returns that hug. "What are you doing here, Miss McKay?" Dogfight's curiosity suddenly bleeds over to influence Mo's attitude, and he speaks up, taking the unlit cigar from between his jaws and asking, "Marianne McKay? The lady I get my orders from?" His voice is gruff, hard like he was angry. She nods at Mo just before he says, "You've sent me into some pretty hairy situations, lady." Dogfight's facial expression turns to one of open anger as Mo continues, though as Miss McKay is looking down, trying to find an explanation, the lizard man winks at Dogfight, dissipating his recent attitude change. "Captain Gonzalez, you're right, I did." She looks into the eyes on either side of his head, then grabs the lower right of his jaw and pulls his face close to hers, surprising him and bringing a knowing smile to Dogfight's face. "Had we not needed you, or had we not understood your capabilities, you wouldn't have been there, lizard boy." A huge grin suddenly covered the crocodile jaws of the former Living Land denizen, and he placed the cigar in his jaw as Mary let him go, and simply, he explained, "I wouldn't have had it any other way, Mary Ann." "Well, then you're going to love where I'm sending the two of you next." Mo and Dogfight looked at one another and waited for the anvil to fall from the sky. McKay opened the cardboard file manager in her right hand, which was likely full of all manner of intelligence the Delphi Council and/or the mystery men and rocket rangers would need, and pulled two small manila envelopes, turning them over and handing each Nile hero one based on their name. Rolling the cigar between his saw-blade teeth, a skill Mary Ann had yet to figure out, when it was hard enough to do it with flat teeth, Mo quickly tore into his envelope, much as Dogfight was, as Miss McKay briefed them vocally. "Captains Gonzalez and Connor, you are ordered to the front against Dr. Mobius Battle Group Red Hand. The insidious Wuhan, from somewhere snake music plays, surrounding all of you in sound, has been searching for the current Rocket Ranger base for a month now, and they believe they have found it. Wuhan, a rattlesnake rattle sounds this time, has larger concerns taking place. We believe in this Earth's United States." So he gave the mission to Red Hand, whose battle group is near the Libyan coast anyway. "It's your mission, so you have two options, as I see it. Move the Ranger base or misdirect Mr. Mayhew and his battle group away from the base. Either way will require some sacrifice." Looking at Mo, she explains, "You will have one or two more of your Ranger brothers with you and quite a few heroes like Captain Connors here, but there will be sacrifice either way. Unfortunately, we have no submersibles near Libya. Aren't certain who to trust in the naval community right now if we did, and the United States is stretched incredibly thin worldwide fighting the various High Lords." She sighs for a moment and then explains, "Your tickets are inside the envelope, and unfortunately, with the way the various zones are laid out right now, you're going to have a bunch of transfers to get home. Good luck, heroes." Before she finishes her briefing, she has the car door open, and the captain is already in the driver's seat. Before her door is even closed, his engine has revved, and she is off toward downtown London. Okay, that's going to take care of at least a little bit of tonight's game, since we're going to have Ginger out, and I don't know who all is going to show up otherwise. But it's time for me to get there, so here we go. Okay, spending experience points in Torg. If you guys are logged in, I need Chris and Ginger. There we go. Chris and Peaches. You two have experience points to spend. Unfortunately, every gamer I've ever met in my life, except me, is bad at math. So, Connor, you were over by 1 XP. That's it. And then Ginger, you were under by like 6 XP. So if you know where you're going, you can open your sheets. I'm gonna get into the game now. Let's make sure that I'm in the right spot. Okay, gonna get into the game now so that you guys can take care of that if you want to. Over on the Actors tab, and this is for Chris and Peaches, Rios, Artorias, and Nightbird. The three of you are already squared away, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Uh-oh. And Remington, do you want to restart, bud? Okay. It must have failed completely. Which is okay. Let him restart and he'll come back into the game in no time. But for Chris and Peaches, go over to the Actors directory up at the upper right and click on that. Then click on Storm Knights, at Possibility War, and then you can open up your individual character sheets. Chris, you've got 25 unspent points and 165 XP. And then Peaches, you've got 21 unspent XP out of 150. Now, for those of you who are wondering why I don't stick with Ulisses Spiele's system of everybody has the same amount of experience all the time, because that helps to deal in mediocrity. It discourages players from playing their characters and being inventive and creative. And I usually give extra possibilities for creative folks and everything like that. And then at the end of a game, you guys can spend up to 3 possibilities, as long as you don't go below the 3 normal possibilities you get for 3 experience points per possibility. And that kind of helps you guys build up. So since that's for you two, let me get the general information: advancement and completion. I'm going to show this to all players. All players should be able to see how this works. Advancement is pretty straightforward. Attributes are double the cost of the next value. So if you've got a spirit of 10 and you want to go to an 11, that's going to cost 22 experience points.
And the human max is what, 13?
13. 13 is the human max, but there are perks out there that allow you to go above that max. Okay, we lost Ross and Remy. Oh no! They'll be back. I'm pretty certain of that. Okay, now we didn't get to spend experience points after Curse of the Gaebolga, so I wanted to make sure you guys had the opportunity to do that, because again, that game ran really late.
But it was a neat game.
I enjoyed that. I like having the and you never know, Skathic might turn up all over again, and you'll probably see Elrana in the future as kind of a sister for you, Peaches, because the two of you are just all kinds of badassery. So
yeah, my character likes to tilt at windmills like the ancient knights of old. So
well,
it was good to meet her.
Exactly.
She was inspiring. She was inspiring to Peaches.
Exactly. And I enjoyed the interaction that we had for that, and I'm sorry that you know, Ross, Remy, and Catherine missed that adventure, because that was really something else. That was cool.
Personal development wise for Peaches, I mean, the world where she was a firefighter is gone.
Yeah, it really is.
That helped her find a different direction.
Yeah,
she'd been kind of lost before that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now she's a knight.
That's right.
So there. And she's still here to save your ass, not kiss it.
There you go. I love that. I do. I love that attitude.
As, if you want to know how, is the gang all back?
Ross is back, but not Remy just yet.
I really do like how she got her call sign and nickname of Peaches.
Remind me, because I read a lot.
Well, as a firefighter, it was mostly male dominated, so she did get ragged on.
Yeah.
And one of her slogans was, "Hey, I'm here to rescue your ass, not kiss it." And so the symbol for a butt on your emoticons is a peach.
Yeah, that's true.
So she was kick ass as a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
But she used or her call sign became Peaches.
Yeah, there you go.
It was a nickname that stuck from all the New York firefighters.
There you go.
It was her call sign.
And if you ever run into any of them, they will probably recognize her right away.
They would.
I try not to run a two-dimensional world, but it's kind of tough to get around and see everybody that you used to know. Okay, so what I need to do... I need my... There it is. Actually, this will be better because this is for the videos, so I can write those down. All right. So for improvements, I need, or advancements, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down whatever you guys tell me that you are looking to improve, if anything, and then I will get them set up. I did a new offline version of records for how everybody got built up in case something bad happens. with the Foundry and I lose everything and I save, I back up my worlds and stuff, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily, you know, going to be 100%. So, let's see, was that Remy? No, Remington's not back yet. Okay, well, that's okay. We're still going to take a few minutes here. For advancement, attributes, like I said, are double the cost of the next level you want to go to, and let me know if you're going to increase any of these things. Skills are equal to the number of ads you want to go to. So if you're a 4 and you want to go to 5, it's going to cost you 5 experience points, not possibilities. 5 experience points, and the maximum without using a perk is 5, okay, in your ads category. And then for perks, gaining your first new perk after character generation costs 5 experience points. Each new perk beyond that costs 2 more points than the last. So if the character begins the game with 2 perks, the third perk, first after character generation, the character purchases costs 5 XP, the fourth perk costs 7, the fifth perk costs 9, and so on. Okay, now, do either of you, Chris or Peaches, want to improve anything?
Connor,
I want to improve my spirit.
Okay, you're going to raise that to 11?
I'm not on mute. Yep.
Okay, so spirit 11, so that's going to cost you 22. That'll only leave you with 3. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so go ahead and change your spirit to 11, and I will change your experience points.
I can't. The game is paused.
Oh, hey, the game is paused. Let's go ahead and unpause that real quick. And then they've got a new thing out with experience points and stuff. Where, oh, that's the number lock. Where only the GM can change it. So your spirit stuff is going to be out of this world. Like kinesis is 16. Reality is 16. Holy smokes. Okay.
I deny your reality.
Yep.
And
I don't want to disconnect, and I don't want to concede.
Exactly. We'll get into cards and stuff in a little while, but we'll deal with that. Peaches, is there anything you want to improve?
I do want to up. I can't decide between charisma or mind. I need to update one of those.
Okay. Well, mind is probably going to be your best thing. You've got a taunt skill, and that's it. Oh, wait a minute. You've got persuasion for charisma. Wait a minute. That's not the end of your skills, though. Okay, so that's 2 of those, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skills that go for mind. So if you improve your mind, you know.
Yeah. All right. So it costs. I'm going to go from 8 to a 9.
So that's going to cost 18. Oh, yeah. Spirit 11. Your mind is not 18. Your mind is 9. And it costs 18.
Okay.
Oh, you sound terrible.
I'm sorry.
No. Don't you dare apologize. I'm just feeling bad that I'm dragging you into this.
You're not. I've looked forward to this for all week, and the fact that I feel crummy just is my own personal misery. Oh, thank you. I couldn't figure out how to change that to unspent.
Well, again, there's a new update in the Torg game system that allows GMs to control that, but players cannot. I could set permissions to allow you guys to do it, but I haven't found the permissions yet. So
that's okay.
But I can close that, and I can close that. Okay, so that's going to take care of XP expenditures, and I will get stuff updated later for that.
No, one more thing then.
Yeah.
Persuasion. I have it at 2. Oh, I want to spend those 3 XP to turn persuasion to 3.
Okay, why not? So let's see. So persuasion.
I just did that.
3.
Down below.
Remainder of 0. Okay. So I'll get your sheet back open here momentarily. Okay, Peaches.
Now I'm done.
Player introductions. Now we're getting to, there he is, Remy's back.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to kind of load up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I want to do. I'm going to have the 3 new players kind of introduce themselves, who they are, who they're playing, etc., and then we're getting that much closer into the beginning of the game. So, Catherine, would you go ahead and tell us who you are and who you're playing, and anything you want to share?
Right. It seems that my character name has been edited to its short version on my character sheet.
I'll explain that in a minute. Go ahead.
Right. So, I kind of gave my character a nearly unpronounceable name. It's Sriosi Ravadzia Niato Imanel. She is a con artist from Orrorsh.
Now, of course, none of the other players here are going to know that unless you tell them. And that includes Artorias and Nightbird. They're not going to know unless they figure it out or you tell them. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. Okay, do you have any more to add?
I am traveling with my companion, Andon. He's basically the muscle to my brains.
And if I do say so myself, he's a pretty cool guy. I wrote stories for all 3 of these characters to kind of help them get into how they're going to get with Chris and Peaches, and it's ingenious if I do say so myself.
Where do we read this?
Well, if it's okay with Remy went back off. Remy, are you on?
Yeah, I'm still here. Just my laptop is working through all that. It'll be all right.
Okay, all right. If
Is he back?
Yeah, he's here vocally. We're gonna have to see how the game treats him tonight. Hopefully, it will get some. Yeah, he keeps going in and out. So I may have to reload this game so that he can get in properly.
No, it's just my laptop. I promise you, it's not the game itself.
Okay. Well,
I've had this laptop for a while, so
yeah. Then let me ask Catherine, Ross, and Remington, is it okay if I share the stories that I wrote for you guys to kind of get you together?
Yeah, sure. I got no problem with that.
Okay. Cat?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Then it's not going to be done tonight, but it will be done soon. Okay. Remy, talk to me. Ross, forgive me. I'm going in alphabetical order here. So, based on the list. So Remington, you're next. Who are you and who are you playing?
Interesting.
Multitasking.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I am Artorias Galate of the 6 Towers. I am an elven magic user. And any questions? I don't know what else to say.
Okay. All right. Then Ross.
I am Nightbird.
That's it?
I am Nightbird. Gotcha.
Well,
I think that matches his character.
Well, I look like a basically a female samurai. Only I'm wearing like a full helm face mask, so you can't really see my features.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna deal with how you guys get together. Did any of you want to kind of put some introduction on yourselves, or are you good to go?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I will let them learn about me as we go.
There you go. Remington?
Cool.
I mean, I'll just kind of let it play out.
Okay.
I'm still trying to work with my laptop, so I'm a bit more focused on that at the moment.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's good.
Well, that's okay, because there's a little bit more to go, and we're getting started. Handouts, current adventure. I'm actually going to read these. They're not that long, so we'll go from there. Okay. Legends are just poorly remembered truths, and there's very little truth, or very little power in the truth. Deception is, by far, the greater weapon. The insidious Wuhan. That was quoted by the insidious Wuhan. Okay, Dr. Mobius sat upon his throne in portentous contemplation. The throne room was like a chamber from a god-forsaken crypt built by the pharaohs of ancient Earth. The light from the torches undulated wildly, throwing long shadows which danced between a horrible red illumination and an even more terrible darkness. The room's walls were lined with the pharaoh's servants. At his every twitch and subtle movement, countless minions jerked like the ever-obedient puppets they were, waiting for the moment the contemptible villain would actually rise from the intricate thoughts and issue a command that they might humbly serve, even if it meant their very lives. Wuhan glided down the center of this chamber, his movement as delicate as his thinking. The dragon on his back seemed a living thing, writhing and crawling to the gentle flapping of his scarlet robes. When he reached Dr. Mobius' feet, he bowed slightly, obviously uncomfortable with such displays of reverence. "Ah!" came the voice of Dr. Mobius, muffled through the dull black hood he wore over the head that housed his overwhelmingly intricate brain. "Yes," replied Wuhan. He had served the High Lord long enough to know from a single grunt what thoughts were wrestling within his master's mind. "I have received a promising report from an agent in the United States. I come to you to humbly request support troops for an expedition into the Living Land." "What do you hope to find, my servant?" came the level voice that had ordered countless executions. Wuhan smiled in his subtly manipulative way, feigning disinterest. "It might simply be another worthless bauble to add to your collection." Then he added the tease, "Or perhaps the very item you need to assure your victory in the battle for this planet." The High Lord weighed the proposal, pausing to search for any sign of expectation in Wuhan's face, a face that showed only the continued facade of apathy. Han was a master of subtle persuasion, and Mobius knew it. Yet he decided to let the Oriental villain think he was successful with the ploy. It was obvious that Han had some stake in this matter, but Mobius didn't know what. Perhaps nurturing a little overconfidence could prove useful should the scheming Han ever harbor the absurd notion of matching wits with him in the future. Besides, such a performance deserved to be rewarded. "Very well, Wuhan, it shall be so." The pharaoh clapped his hands twice, and was instantly attended by a hand servant bearing a quill and papyrus. As he wrote the orders authorizing Han's expedition, Mobius added a final afterthought. "I trust I need not caution you about failure." Han lowered his gaze and replied, "I bow, O Master, to your superior cruelty." Both men smiled, one openly and one from behind a black mask. Okay, we switch over to Pan-Pacifica. The receipt started in Cairo, the shipment of a large number of men and weapons along with several tons of tools and a few large trucks. The clerk in Cairo, who was also secretly on the Kanawa Enterprises payroll, picked it up out of the pile only because of the destination, a secret drop into the Living Land. The clerk had orders to report any inter-realm activity, no matter how trivial, to his contact in Osaka. He forwarded a copy of the receipt to Japan. Yabu Takanda now stared at the handwritten copy of the receipt on his desk. He was once again amazed that Mobius was capable of constructing time-travel devices and disintegration rays, but had yet to develop something as simple as an office copier. The ornately decorated rice paper of the traditional door slid open before him. Strangely, it didn't clash with the stainless steel office interior. Yamato stepped inside. "May I be of assistance to you?" "You honor me with your diligence," Yabu gestured to a chair. Uh-oh, who just rolled a private roll?
I'm just making sure it's not going to freeze, and I'm trying to do some rolls, is all.
Yeah, it rolls across everything.
Yeah.
"You honor me with your diligence," Yabu gestured to a chair. "Please, sit down." Yamato crossed the steel blue carpet and sat gingerly in a chair, seeking to not disturb his better's zen. The automated retinal scanner verified Yamamoto's pattern, silently flashing its report on Yabu's desk monitor. It saddened Yabu that such measures were necessary, but security must be maintained, even among such trusted men as Yamamoto. "I recall a report from your department," Yabu said. "A representative from the Nile arriving in Atlanta, Georgia, United States." Yamoto thought for a moment, then nodded. Yes, Wana Telkis Alhamabar. He has been there for some time. Our operative there tells us Alhamabar appears to be making preparations for a departure. Yabu was quiet for several moments, contemplating his next move in this never-ending chess match. The anatomical monitors hidden in Yamoto's chair sprang to life on Yabu's desk screen. Quickening pulse, increased perspiration, the telltale signs of nervousness. Yet Yamoto remained absolutely motionless, revealing nothing. Yabu smiled inwardly. He had trained Yamoto himself. Finally, Yabu broke his silence and said, Alhamabar does not leave until we know why he was there. I have a feeling that Dr. Mobius, or at least one of his servants, is pursuing the same trail that we are, concerning the matter of the map. Find out which one of his lieutenants is involved and put him in contact with me. Perhaps we can bargain for what we seek. Should Alhamabar live? Yamoto asked calmly. If it becomes necessary, he and all those he has associated with in the United States should be liquidated without hesitation. Hi, Yabu-sama. And Yamoto-san. An uncomfortably long pause followed, but once Yabu sensed Yamoto was about to fidget, he continued. I want you to see to this matter personally. With that, Yabu rose, turned to the wall behind him, and carefully removed the ninja sword, turning back and, holding the sword across both palms, presented it to his subordinate. Yamoto bowed low as he accepted the blade, understanding the importance his better was putting on this assignment. Okay, the third part. Almost there. Dawn had just cracked the sky over Paris, hanging blood-red over the city. The junkie could barely focus on his surroundings. His world tormented him. The grains of the pavement stood out in astounding detail. The morning's air cut him like needles of cold silver. He needed to get out of the world. He wanted the Savior back. He needed God's presence inside him once again. He stumbled up the first 2 steps of the chapel and clawed for the iron railing that ran up to the front door. He crashed into the marble steps, dull pain flooding his right arm. Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! He mumbled again and again, a simple prayer for his arm. He cradled it like a baby, rocking gently on the steps. Anyone viewing him through pure sense glasses, which they were not supposed to possess, but which were most likely also hacked, watched as his piety score juggled between 0 and 280. The GodNet was good at a lot of things, but determining whether someone was blaspheming or praying to God was sometimes difficult. Alex, the junkie, had already forgotten the assignment the priest had given him. All he could think about was the overwhelming sensation of life. There was too much of it. Someone called his name, but he couldn't bring himself to look for its source. There were footsteps, and then Father Vachon was beside him, kneeling down and draping his arm protectively around the junkie's shoulders. Alex, the priest said with a mix of sadness and no small amount of aggravation. The priest was young, no older than Alex. His face was smooth and happy. He shone with hope. Unlike Alex, period. Did you find anything? Alex meant to mention something about his arm, but all that he could stammer out was, what? All he needed was to feel God again. Everything else was secondary, useless garbage, until he could be sated with God's presence again. He heard the angelic voice of the priest as well, the one who could allow him to feel God again, stating, You said you were going to talk to some of your friends. Father Vachon waited several long seconds, hoping Alex would catch the hint, then went a step further. In the underground? He sat on the steps beside Alex, tried to prop him up and show him that he loved the junkie who was also his spy, though aggravation settled in his voice when he finally asked, About the map? An image danced before Alex's eyes. A picture of a man, dark skin, from the desert reality? Yes. Oh, yes. I remember now. The excitement in his voice was a bit louder than Father Vachon was comfortable with, and his face reddened slightly as crowds of the faithful, and perhaps some not so faithful, stared as Alex continued more quietly. I found what you needed. But, Father... Yes, my son? I need God. I don't think I can remember clearly without God's help. Father Vachon's face, softening at the request, answered, Of course, my son, as he fingered the input jack at the back of Alex's neck. Let me help you inside, and I'll give you communion. For those passers-by who were watching, Alex's piety score jumped one more time, from 250 to 300. in the blink of an eye and stabilized as Father Vachon pushed the church doors closed behind them. I'm going to show players, and I'm going to make sure that you guys have the option of actually being able to read that again if you like. So change permissions. All players observers. Save changes. Okay, that should hop up or pop up in the current adventure handouts. Okay. Are there any questions before we get started? Or are you guys like bored to tears and ready to walk out?
When it comes to these files like this, is there any place to like read them later?
Yes.
Like once we close them, they're gone.
Yeah, no. Okay. Look toward the upper right where you see that line of icons. You'll see an icon that looks like a book. And when you take your mouse over it, it says journal entries. Click on that. Then you'll see Storm Knights are there. Now for the 3 new ones of you don't have any files here just yet. I need to go through and clean up the journals now that the journal system is being cleaned up for the Foundry and for the Torg game system. And I will deal with that in the coming week or 2 weeks. It's not something that you have to have right this minute. If you pop open general game information or game general information, you'll see a bunch of stuff in there that you can use. If you don't see something that I mention later, let me know, and I'll determine. All of you should have access to it all. Matter of fact, let me see if those configure permissions. Let's see. I think I can make you all observers of those, and they should pop open. Then the third one down, the dark blue one, says Handouts Current Adventure. You should only see 9-1 Opening Stories, ROP1, the Destiny map. Does anybody see anything other than 9-1?
Nope.
I only see 9-1.
Okay. Okay, so then it's perfectly good for us to go ahead and move on, unless there are any questions. All right. Ginger. Okay, you guys get to be bored for just a few more minutes. Okay? Oh, wait a minute. What is that? To the Mobius Mobile. Okay, Ginger, come on down to the sidebar.
Okay. How do I do this again?
Okay, click on sidebar, and then click confirm. Okay.
All right, here I am.
Peaches, your phone rings. The voice on the other end of the phone has a deep British proper accent who explains, I am known as Elaine Fisk, knighted by the Queen of England for invaluable information I brought from my home realm, an Earth similar to yours that was lost. I am a Storm Knight and leading agent of the Delphi Council, as well, here to ensure your Earth has the best possible chance to win. So your world is not lost as mine has been, and I have been assigned your handler from here out. Please tell me something about yourself.
Oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Fisk. Or did you say sir?
Fisk will do. Oh my, that sounds like a terrible cold.
Yeah, we been on a boat.
Oh.
And then to the North Pole before that, I think. So it's just catching up with me.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to allow you to rest.
Well, I'm your gal. Been a firefighter in New York City for nearly 20 years. I'd say I'm too old for this, but this war has got to be fought.
New York City? I've never been, but I've always been impressed with the buildings. Perhaps I will make it someday.
I'm afraid it'll never be the same, sir.
Perhaps not, but we can still win this. So tally-ho.
Absolutely. It's still worth fighting for.
Agreed. Now, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, but as I said, I will not be able to allow you to rest right now. You may be able to gain some assistance from the warehouse, which is basically a Delphi Council base in Nashville after you land. By the way, this phone call is happening before you guys get on the plane in Heathrow. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He says, "Have you heard about the strange murders in Nashville here in the United States?"
No, we've kind of been incommunicado over in the Isle of Man.
Oh,
Catch me up, please.
yes. It would appear that a fairly prominent researcher has been slain along with a man from the new empire of the Nile. This was just...
Slain,
What's that?
slain, not robbed.
Not robbed. An entire house full of people has been murdered, and the site is being preserved for you. We have asked for this as of 5 minutes ago, actually.
All right, we better get to the scene of the crime then and do what forensics we can before we lose evidence.
Yes, but rest on the flight. Take some oxygen if you must.
Can you tell me, are there any reasons why you suspect this family may have been targeted?
I do not know at this point. Information is still being gathered. I will try to update you as I get more information. We are having you come from afar to do this because many of our Storm Knight teams, our Spartans, our Cassandra people are all deployed at this point, and you have just finished a rather notoriously good amount of work. Quite literally, you've saved the Earth, not just England. So...
Well, gosh, thanks for saying. But,
you are the perfect folks to complete this task and to take it even further as necessary. Your team has displayed a penchant for being able to accomplish much. And so...
Well, it hasn't been easy, but we'll do what we can. Do we know, like I said, what do we know about this poor family?
Well, I have some bullet points. Let me run through them, and you can ask some questions as we're going along. Another stormer was found among the bodies. We don't know if he is a Storm Knight or one of the enemy, but he had a great deal of hair on him and was very large, very tall, highly muscular. Based on your work in Silicap, Indonesia, recently,
Yeah.
we're thinking you may have contact about this. And so it is another reason to put you on this mission. The other one that we heard about was the man from the Nile Empire. He looks, according to information that I have coming across now, as though he were torn apart by animal claws. The townhome owner... Yes?
I was going to say, if he ran afoul of that hairy dude, that just might be the case.
I was
Keep
thinking
going.
the very same thing. The townhome owner, one John Parkhurst, seems to have been slain with a blade thrust into his belly. And there are many causes of death for his wife and his daughter as well. We do suspect very strongly, even though the Nashville Police will not verify, and perhaps cannot verify at this point, that the man that we are talking about downstairs is indeed a werewolf, but has now been slain.
Interesting.
Yes.
Those suckers are hard to kill.
Yes, from your report we seem to gather. Still.
It would take a lot of force or a lot of luck to kill one.
Yes. There was no noise that the neighbors, in the information gathering we are still conducting, heard. No one seemed to see or hear anything. And this place is just off of a frontage road on a highway, on a major highway. So if they would have heard anything, I'm sure they would have reported it. But they neither heard nor saw anything, nor anyone odd.
But you said the house was near destroyed? Or just the contents inside?
No, neither. As a matter of fact, the site is remarkably well preserved, according to the officer, one Captain Bouchard, who has forwarded this information to me and continues to do so in rather rapid numbers of emails.
I see. Well, tell him that we'll get there as soon as we can.
Oh,
Help is on the way.
I will certainly do that. So, your assignment, should you choose to accept it, go to the Nashville Police, gain permission to study their files using your Delphi Council credentials, and, if necessary, go to the townhome for further investigation using your collective skills as Storm Knights. Share everything you find with the Nashville Police, and perhaps aid a little in their investigation. I do not mind telling you that closing the case for them will help not only their caseload, but aid with ours as well. Finding out what the minions of these extraterrestrial realities are doing within your nation may well help the Delphi Council defeating them in other realms. Good luck and be careful. If you need anything, there's a Delphi supply depot in the warehouse district in Nashville. The address will be forthcoming to your telephone.
Excellent. I take all these notes down.
This Delphi Council warehouse may be in some disarray as they just jumped. Is it jumped? Yes, thank you very much. It just jumped from a place that was prepared to be taken over by Baroque Cause people from the Living Land. If you have anything more, call me. If you find out anything that is extremely odd, call me. Now,
We will.
Agent Gonzalez, is there anything else you care to report?
Who are we to meet there besides the agent in charge? Said Agent Bouchard.
He is not an agent. He is the captain of the
Captain.
police department.
Excellent. So Chris will be with me. And
Yes.
Anybody else coming?
Unfortunately, it appears from the information I have gathered that all of your other teammates, apart from Chris, have moved on. We will try to add to your team as soon as we possibly can. But in an investigation capacity, 2 should be enough, I would think.
Excellent. Well, we're on it. And thank you. And Mo is like a bad penny. He turns up.
So I have heard. Agent Gonzalez, it has been a pleasure to speak with you, and I look forward to hearing from you again.
My pleasure. We'll keep in touch.
All right. Thank you very much. Cheerio. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
Okay, so he hangs up the phone, and that's when you and Chris in particular are basically, getting ready to board the plane.
Sorry, I'm devolving here.
It's okay. It may be that Chris can kind of take it from this point. But if you want to try and explain things to Chris in front of the others, that's fine. That way they'll get kind of an overview of what's going on. Fair enough?
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Back to Torg Eternity.
Right.
Okay. Long phone call out of the way. Ginger will be back in just a moment.
All right. Back again.
Yep. Ginger, you have the floor.
Chris will notice that I took a phone call on my mobile phone, and I turn to him and say, that was a contact from the Delphi Council. His name was Alan Fisk. He's got a mission for us. We're to go to Nashville, Tennessee, and look into a family that apparently was targeted. They've been murdered, Chris. We got to find what we can about it.
Oh, wow. Sure, let's go. I mean,
Yeah.
sucks
So as
that
we were getting
can't-
on our plane, we have tickets to Nashville. Here we go.
I mean, it sucks that Mo and Dogfight can come along, but
Well, let me kind of explain. Mo and Dogfight were actually called back to serve with the mystery men in Egypt.
right.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
they can't come along right now. So.
Yeah, we sure could have used some extra help, but as far as I know right now, it's just you and I.
Well, let's get a move on.
Yeah, the crime scene is waiting for us. We really need to go get there. Stat.
Okay, you can only fly international flights. Only go into either Atlanta or Chicago. Chicago is further away, so you fly into Atlanta, and you manage to get a puddle jumper from Atlanta into Nashville. Okay. Now, considering that you're only 139 days into the war, I think it is. Where did I put that? That's all right. I'll catch up with that later.
It's summer 2017, August.
Yeah, it's August 2017. So April 3rd was day one of the game. So whatever April to August is what you all have been through so far. So May, June, July, August. So literally you are in the later part of the 4th month of the war, and you're already getting into your 9th adventure. So it's been busy, to say the least.
Yeah.
So much for downtime.
Okay. Now,
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, it's hot in Nashville in August.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it certainly is. The airport, though, is very comfortable. When your puddle jumper lands, you're able to disembark, and of course, the humidity just slams you right away. You get to the airport. You walk up the steps to the gangway, and you're getting to the airport. You get to baggage claim. And you of course have been fed 3 meals on the plane to Atlanta, and then on the way to Nashville you got some peanuts, maybe a soda pop or something like that. No real alcohol or anything like that, but the flights go without a hitch, no problem.
No dragons, that's a relief.
No dragons this time, that's right. Now, you get landed, you get down to baggage claim. Just after baggage claim, and there's like 16, no, it's Nashville. There's like 6 rotating belts like you guys get at your general airport. You pick things up.